Okay, let me get some music actually going on too. Let me get the old Karazhan music. I'm a fan of that one. I just really like the old like I don't know what type of piano that really counts as, I'm a fan of that style. It's an organ? I don't really know. Either way, I enjoy the sound. I'll get that up just a second. Um, oh, I clicked on the wrong one. That's why it wasn't opening. Oh, it's loud. Hold. Dang it! Hang on. Let me turn that shit down. Live job application. What's up, Crystal Sanders? Saba, hello. Sabo, I expect some of these new devil fruits to be really cool. I really like the liquor fruit. I think that one's cool. That was one that I had I assume the power probably existed somewhere in fiction before, but that was like my belief of what you would do is like not the same thing, but it was like my idea of like a power is like if you drank but you made other people around you get affected. But like I guess this thing is he just turns things alcohol-like, so you can't breathe, or it's like air is alcohol potent. I think that's neat. I like the idea of that one. I like it when Oda does really weird ones and then kind of gives them like really niche, either like niche uses or like ones that it's like, yeah, this makes sense to be useful. It's like you make everybody drunk and then by default they're gonna have a rougher time. I think that makes a lot of sense. Listen, the whole thing about people saying Mappa and 100 Years Quest, I'm not gonna say a word until we get something official. I'm not gonna get like baited into something that just sounds really cool. Regardless if it's like, oh, because they use these examples, maybe it's like I don't care. I'm gonna wait until we get an announcement. I would love to just have a solid studio that can obviously do the series, because as long as they do well on the 100 Years Quest anime, it's going to probably I can't say for sure, but it's like usually whenever they have just like really cool fights and stuff, ends up going viral. That ends up picking up previous sales as well as picking up hype towards the anime as it goes. So, and it's been proven multiple times over the last couple of years. As long as you give them like solid anime adaptations, people like them. And the thing about like Fairy Tail's base, like entire fan base, is a lot of them don't even know about 100 Years Quest, and a lot of them are waiting for the anime to come back. A lot of them think it just ended. And I can definitely agree with like with the way that it ends. It's very kind of open ended. Was never a fan of those kind of endings, and it's one of the reasons I was always so happy we got 100 Years Quest. I don't like it when things kind of end very like too open ended, kind of. Like I didn't like that it was like, yeah, they're going on the 100 Years Quest. None of the characters got with like their respective ships, except for maybe you can count like some of them like Godzilla Levy, but it's like Gray and Julia sort of, but like. No, there wasn't enough to really go off. It's like Jalal and Urza had like almost nothing at the end, other than like Urza was in a better mood, and it's like Mishima's actually moving towards more of those in 100 Years Quest. So it's been a solid continuation. So I think as long as they give 100 Years Quest really good, like it doesn't need to be Demon Slayer animation. Like I would love it to be the best they could possibly make it, but I just think they just need to make it solid and consistent. Like that's the thing. I mean, if they give it some like big dick studio, then fantastic. But what I want mostly is I want like a good anime that when like the way that I always view animes, it's like it does like I said. Sorry, the scenes where they're just talking and walking around and eating, those don't need to be amazingly animated. But it should be consistent and looks good. It's the parts that are important. Like important reveals, like really important character backstories, or like big important fights. Those are the times where it's like the big dick animation should be there. Not well like some side character is doing a funny dance like that. No, unless it's Ichiya, like then I'll make some exceptions because Ichiya is goated, like 100%. Definitely the best comic relief character in my opinion for anime. anime manga. What's up, Olivia? How's it going? Expectations on the fights. I want Gray to, like, medium difficulty at most beat Genai and Rogue. I think Rogue should have a fairly difficult fight, but I think Rogue should, like, it should always feel like Rogue is never getting backed into a corner, but, like, anytime he gets pressed, it's like he has a way to kind of, like, move back. It's kind of, that's how I see it with Rogue. Because it's hard with Rogue solo, because we know Sting and Rogue together is where their utmost potential comes out, just because of the way that they train and the way that they're, you know, that they grew up and worked and trained, worked and sparred and kind of just developed their tactics together, you know, as the twin dragons. The thing about, like, again, I'm not gonna buy any of the Mappa stuff until we figure out any more information. The island one is gonna be a problem. The island one is really neat. I want to know, like, the extent of how that one works, because I like the idea. It's like, imagine you can maintain the powers, like maybe your awakening. You can become an island man, where whatever island you're on, you gain aspects of that island, but you can switch in, kind of like a Kirby thing. And it's like he goes to the I don't remember all the islands in One Piece, but it's like Alabasta, and he's like, oh, he can turn into sand. He can't, you know, he doesn't have, like, Crocodile's control over it, but he can just turn into sand to pretty much like an evade and attack kind of thing. It's just like not the same thing as what Crocodile could do, but maybe like somebody throws a giant attack, he can immediately turn into sand, becomes flat, and then dodges it or something. Or like he becomes what's that one island in the oh my god, is it the Sambodi Archipelago, is it? With all the bubbles, he gets like some bubble power. I don't know. Something like that would be really neat. I like the concept of it. Just because I One Piece is very island focused, so his fruit should have a lot of general value. It's just like, it's weird to see what Oda's gonna do with it. But definitely I want to see it. It's cool. I like when Oda does the weird devil fruits more than when he does like the straightforward ones. Usually the elemental ones aren't as hype for me, because it's just like he just does like a cool effect where they're like in the shape of an animal. Whereas like usually when he does something really weird, it's like where his creativity comes out and he does lots of neat stuff. Like Katakuri, for example. All right, I'm gonna catch up really fast, and then we're gonna see the chapter. Let me just see what you guys have to say real fast in the chat. What would you think of E&D looking down on people? I don't think that would really make sense, because like the thing about E&D is he doesn't think of things outside of whatever his goal is, whatever his primary thing to do. That is the target of his mind. That is what he is trying to accomplish. And I just don't really see it as I just don't see it really as a thing if he's looking down on people. Like, he just develops this, like, over smug personality trait. I don't think it would happen. Because, like, the way that he works more so than the other Aetherius is he is so focused on just his task that nothing else really matters. Everything else is just in the way. So, like, you know, if he's... Unless it's for some reason that, you know, go look down on people, I guess that's what he's going to do. Okay, let me get to the chapter, and then I'll get more to the comments. I don't think we're going to get much with Athena. I think we're going to get an opening bit, just a display of power, but I'm predicting more of the chapter to be focused on, more on what's going on with Rogue and Gray. Personally, I would prefer that. But let's see what's going on with this chapter. Oh, hold on, I forgot to buy a couple points. Let me see. One sec. Forgot how this app works. Wish I could read Japanese. One second. I'm gonna read some of the comments. I'm trying to figure this back out. Yuno's becoming broken. One thing I want to know about Yuno is that does Yuno have to charge this up, or is this something that Yuno can just drop anytime that he's in a fight? Because that's more of my interest for Yuno later in this arc. I like the idea of more like Yuno, like it's a separate thing with his other abilities. Like it's a separate charge up of mana, and it's like, okay, when it runs out, he goes back to where he's at normally, but it recharges separately. So it's like, oh, every half hour, every hour. I mean, as of right now, I feel like it would need a longer charge than Devil Union, because Devil Union is broken, but it doesn't have as much as, seemingly as much of a boost to Asta really as this, because this one, and especially with Zetin, because with this, it should enhance everything about Yuno across the board, because it seems to just be on top of, I don't know if it makes his star and wind magic fusion spells easier, or if it is just a store of mana. But I mean, the arm thing, it's obviously it has a set idea of where it's going. It just depends on what exactly he's trying to set up in a larger scale. I think Tabata's got it though, but I think that Yuna's gonna lose. I think Yuna's gonna lose in this. It's gonna be similar to the fight with with Julius and Patri, and there's gonna be some form of underhanded move. Okay, there we go. I was just forgetting how to do it, because I used to have to go through like an extra app to update the Japanese app, but I just made another email and then set that one to Japan, and then it's easy. I figured out how to do it much easier without having to switch every time. Okay, let's see. Let's see the cover. Oh, it's Urza's fairy woman. She's just like attacking some dude who's stealing stuff. So far, it doesn't look like she's done anything bad. Because usually she messes up something else as collateral, but she just kind of freaks out this dude. I wonder if we're gonna get another one with like Jalal next chapter. I can't remember what his dude was called in City Hero, where he's like he was like a mass thief. Let's see, Natsu though. Natsu's being smart. He's like burns. Okay, hang on. So there's the chapter opens. It's just Athena standing there. It's pretty much the exact same where as it left off. We do see Sting though crying. That was one of the things I was personally really curious about, is if Sting would be affected by this, because obviously with we know that she's gonna have alchemy and magic, but we know that she's got the whole whiteout stuff going on and the white wizard. So it's like, okay, white magic ? Will it affect Sting? But yeah, we didn't see in the last chapter. It was kind of weird. It was kind of hard to say, but like this one, I can definitely see it. And I think Lucy actually gives some information when she's talking to him, and she says something about like alchemists doing something, she's just explaining alchemy, and I think that's like them figuring out how to kind of go against the abilities. Natsu like evaporates his own tears, and that seems to have canceled the effect, at least on him. But I'm wondering with the others, like how exactly if Athena just stopped, because she's not attacking them or doing anything aggressive so far, but she does look a little bit menacing. Like Natsu seems to want to fight her though. Oh man, okay, cool. I turned the page and it was like Natsu looks like he wants to fight Athena. I want to see that fight, but I'm much more interested in seeing Gray and Rogue. And then we ended up like the next page going back to Gray and Rogue. I want to see where this goes. Wendy though, I want Wendy to do something, but I don't want Wendy to be in either of these fights unless there's a specific reason that she needs to do extra support. So I just want to see both of these characters kind of get their own solo matches. Let's see unless it's going to just be a specific group fight. Ganai ends up pulling out his pipe. I really like it. It's huge. I like oversized like regular weapons. And he's just doing his thing, making the smoke, doing smoke alchemy. I don't really see what the effect is right now. Okay, it looks like it's just smoke. I think he's just making a smoke screen. And then that's the guy's name, Kotetsu, I think. He goes in and just starts going for attacks. Oh, what is this? Oh wow, This dude is lucky. If Gajil, like, this makes sense of why Gajil had to get like pushed back and maybe put specifically against Katsarina, because like if he was here, so this dude, he uses his he just pretty much punches Rogue. Rogue blocks it, no problem. But it's like his arm gets heavy, and it looks like he turned his arm into iron or some form of metal. So it's like, imagine trying to do that to Gajil. Gajil's just like, he just unmoved. It's whatever. You made me lighter, probably. I could get it with Rogue, because Rogue is a shadow, probably like, weight changes are really a lot more difficult for him. But I think once he turns into a shadow, it shouldn't really bother him. But it's like, when he just goes for a roar, blows away the smoke. Does the smoke come back, or what's going on with it? Hang on. I think he's like turning her wind into smoke or something. There's like a weird effect going on with it. I like this strange kind of nature of their abilities, and I think with alchemists too, the general nature of alchemy, obviously converting things into other things, is going to be useful on wizards if you can, if they generally just use some form of attribute that you can mess with. Because it doesn't seem like they're bound to just using their, I can only use things involving smoke. It seems like there's a lot of ways for them to convert other things into their specific attribute, which I think is pretty neat. Gray needs to take this dude a little bit more seriously. Like, Gray shouldn't joke. I need Gray to really do this guy in. There's like a part where they're talking about wizards and I think magic, and I think the way they're explaining it is because alchemists. I think that's because alchemists don't have to worry as much about power usage, as they're kind of be like, oh well, wizards like have to use certain percentages, so they'll go and wear down faster. But that's like more for like casters. I don't think he realizes this is a dragon slayer, and then Gray's a devil slayer. So I mean, like, what is his plan? Like, these guys so far are... Okay, hang on. Duke showed up. So I was going to say, these guys seem slower to tough, but not too much. And then Duke showed up, and now I think we have an actual problem. Because I don't think Gray or Rogue are going to be able to do anything to him. At least not right now. Shit. Okay. So now I think Wendy being there, we have a good spot. Wendy needs to... Like, Gray needs to go Devil Slayer. Gray can't be just hanging out with these dudes in base. Wendy needs to start doing some broken stuff, because Wendy should theoretically, because here's the thing, she's an enchantress. Regardless of what they do, Wendy can put magic in it. So he does smoke. And I just put it more to like Wendy's probably just not used to fighting alchemists, and she just hasn't put. They're not in a spot where like they need to think really fast on their feet, because like so far they don't seem that pressed. All that's really happened is like Rogue blocked an attack, and like his arm got heavy. Wendy doesn't, like, nobody's really taken damage really when you look at it from their fight. So they're not in a spot where I think they're taking them that seriously. But I think just from what we got in the chapter... Oh, man, I just noticed the music stopped playing. From in the chapter, it's very clear that the kind of, like, casual effort that they're outputting right now is not going to cut it. Like, we don't know the extent of where these two go, but it's very clear that, them just kind of, like, joking around and not really seeing these guys as anything is going to be enough for this fight. Which I think is fine. It's just going to depend, obviously, on their height. I don't think that Ganai could, like, push Gray to go all out. Or same thing with, like, in terms of, like, weird abilities, maybe with Wendy, because Wendy's biggest value is just in her abilities. But, I mean, like, I feel like if Wendy just had to be like, okay, I need to really think seriously and do some crazy enchanting. She's going to be like, oh, I enchant magic into your smoke to just catch fire or to explode. Because... that's like easy stuff for Irene. We know that, like, obviously Wendy learned and talked to Irene a good portion, but also that's like seemingly a pretty low level of effort thing for enchanting. And with like there are degrees where wizards have advantage, or alchemists and alchemists over wizards, but I don't think in this scenario they like have any idea like the extent of like how broken an enchantress or an enchanter is in the verse. I never even posted the stream. Let me go post the stream real quick, because I actually really want to talk about some of these events, because now, like with Natsu's group, I think they're fine. I think the thing, oh, I gotta get my ad on YouTube so it's not just a bunch of numbers. Let me see. Hold on. Let me get my live stream up and we'll post it. How are you guys all doing today, though? Let me get things moving. I think Gray's group's in trouble. But I mean, like that gets my hope for Gray up, because I really want Gray to have some big stuff going on this arc. Let me see. I'm gonna post it with a little bit, I guess, post-chapter context, because I am actually worried for Gray. Because Gray's the strongest in his group, so if anybody's gonna be fighting Duke, it's got to be him. So I think if Wendy fights Ganai, it's fine. Smoke versus wind, well, sky, but you know, variants of wind and air. Who do you think? Who do you think? Jalal, Urza and Jalal? What do you mean? Black mage cries, the white mage makes people cry. I mean, Zerev's mostly would cry because he was fucking depressed. That wasn't like, oh, my powers are in sadness. It's like, man, I've been through some shit and my life hurts. Yeah, these last 2 weeks actually went by pretty quick. I've been really busy, though. So one thing I actually wanted to talk to you guys about, because one thing I was thinking about doing is, hang on one second, I'm coughing a little bit. So, I can talk about a lot of stuff. The thing that takes me a while to do is editing, if I have to put pictures and stuff in a video. Do you guys think I should just do a podcast and just kind of like, you know, post, you know, do videos on here, and then I post like the audio of the stream and do a podcast? Because I can easily do like, oh yeah, I got 2 hours, just like talk to you guys, talk about Fairy Tail, talk about Seven Deadly Sins, Four Knights, Eden Zero, Black Clover, Mashal. Talk about like stuff like, you know, pretty much any series going on that's fun to, I mean, I mostly like the magical series, but I mean, like, I'm down to talk about other stuff too. Obviously, I'm always down to talk about Bleach. But I was thinking about switching to that because I think it would be better for, I think it'd be better for the way that I can get content out consistently. Because I used to get stuff out way faster, but it's like I wanted to do like edited videos and stuff, but it's like, I don't know, with my schedule it just doesn't work out, and I don't want the channel to kind of seem dead, and I want to get stuff back. So I was thinking about switching to that. Then the sabers are captured. I hope not. I don't think the fights will be cringe. I think the fights will be fine. I think Athena will be more of a display of power. Duke is more of the one I'm worried about, because they're like in their home base. Natsu's the main character. He's the strongest out of the main cast. He's got additional hype levels that he hasn't even harnessed yet. They have Lucy there for like one of the most high utility. Sting is both a support and offense fighter with holy magic. Freaking, I mean, Yukino's there. Yukino's got hands. I'll give her that. Yukino does have hands. And then you have Happy for escape. Like Lecter and Frosh too, or actually no, Frosh in there. Lecter too for just general escape. Like you have some options. Like it's not like they're like I think that they're in a spot where they have a much more hyped opponent. But I feel like Athena will be one of those characters who will like playing, like just because she's she's artificial, she's trying to be I would guess more human-like, just obviously based off some of the themes and concepts around her. So we'll see. I think that's a really neat one. Duke's the one I'm more worried about, because we don't know anything about Duke. at all. Like, Duke is a full mystery. And one thing we know about Gold Owl, we don't know who did it, is one of them can transmute people in a temporary back to life state. God Serena, we don't know the extent of where he is between alive and dead, but one of the members of Gold Owl can do that. And what if he tries to do that with Gray? And one of the things I really wanted to see about switching is because I think it would be better for my content put out. And there's theories that I really want to talk about going into this arc. Like, one is for Gray that I like. Gray has a very strong chance. Let's go into a bit now. Gray has a very strong chance of getting alchemy because Gray is from the northern continent. This is the northern continent. There are bits in the translations for early on where Maker Magic is referred to as alchemy, as well as it's been mistaken for alchemy. So what's the plan? And it looks like Gray's going to be the one going up against Duke. How's that going to go? Lucius might beat Yuno instead of Asta. I think he'll beat Yuno in like a backhanded way. But the chapter was pretty good. I actually, it was solid. I really liked just the general setups. But like the thing at the end with Duke is more what I was surprised about. I didn't think we'd be getting Duke moving that fast. But I mean, that's really cool. I like that he takes action. I like that he's a dude who's going to actually move out when things are happening. Because if like people are saying like he's got a bit of a Hades vibe, but Hades is the opposite because Hades liked to spectate. Hades liked to watch. He liked to be a spectator and watching all the matches and seeing how they went. Dragon Force not. I mean, as far as I could guess, I would go Dragon Force Natsu, but like Athena's hyped up and we don't know anything about her right now. Sam, Jalal's great. I mean, I would have people on it. I would have guest weeks. Obviously, I would have to get some big celebrities to start it, like the Quan Credible. I would try and fulfill your dream, Kenmano, of getting Iron Nancy on there too. Try and move him on there, see what's going on with him, because I know he's more focused on Eden Zero. I like Ganai that he keeps making these goofy ass faces too. But he one thing I thought was really funny is he blocked an attack from Gray, and then he does like this pose, and then Mishima, I guess, I don't know which one decided on this. I would guess because this is more of a Mishima style comedy, is he poses and has this like Japanese background. I thought that was like an, I don't know what that style is called for that type of background, but it looks like a play background piece. But this guy's kind of funny. I'm all right with him. He seems like, the thing is, like, if Gray switches to Duke, I think Ganai will fight Wendy, and I think that's fine. I think Wendy having a guy who's a bit more goofy, I think works. I'd much prefer Gray fight somebody big. It's super interesting to see where he's at, just because like I want to know what direction the Duke bit is gonna have. Duke is really cool. Like, again, he's one of those characters. Everybody that seen his design, I remember when the week where his design dropped, everybody was pretty much just being like, "Wow, this guy looks fucking cool." He's like this. He looks like a military veteran hero that retired and then for a while was like a religious pastor that recently became like a master alchemist, where he's got like this weird background on top of being just like a master alchemist. I don't know, there's a vibe to him. It's just a combination of styles to it. It looks good though. But I mean, you do podcasts, you do other things other than anime manga session. I'm gonna have, that's just gonna be the primary thing. It's gonna be like, obviously I'm gonna have series I talk about every week, but other series as well. But I mean, I'm gonna talk about movies. And like maybe books and stuff. Maybe like recent events. It'll be like one of those things where it just has, it's a conversation with a main theme and then other stuff kind of added in. I just have to look into how to do that. I'll probably look into that within the next few days to a week, and then get that set up, because I think I think the thing that really dragged down my productivity with the channel was when I started to kind of like, I wanted to do edited stuff, which I did, but I just, it doesn't fit in with my time. And I'm just much better at just talking about stuff in long term rather than making a longer video, or making a short edited video. Because when I make a really long video, I want to have a lot of stuff in it to kind of like spread over the time. So if it takes a long time, it's just gonna stack up on top of everything else. No, I think Mishima's gonna do something where it's like he's been doing, where it's like the next one is gonna be like a Jalal cover, and Jalal's gonna be that masked bad dude. I can't remember what his name is. I actually looked at the panel of it recently. It was like a week or so ago. It was like Masked Phantom or something. I can't remember. But Gray is, I want to see who does well. More. I want to see who does better. Gray with Duke, or Yuno with Lucius. My guess is Yuno with Lucius is going to do better, because this is we don't know anything. We know literally nothing about Duke. Like, Yuno's like, hey, I got prep time. I got some ideas I got to work around. I've had a year and a half of well, I mean, Gray had should have had at least a year of training plus time, so I can't really say that part. But it's like it's like I know the opponent to a degree what I'm going up against. Gray isn't. I mean, Gray's more experienced too, though, so you got to give him that. But it's like I feel like just the way that it's set up, Duke is probably going to get more of a flex off, whereas with Lucius, there's probably going to be like another chapter, maybe chapter and a half, 2 if we're lucky, of Yuno flexing, and then Lucius is going to turn it around. Lucius, though, might turn it around next chapter, though. I would hope that, real quick, my hopes actually is that Lucius starts to turn it around. It's like a stalemate for like a chapter and a half, and then Lucius just starts to win. Because, like, I want to see Yuno do just some, like, really cool, like, spells on the move, like, attacking, and, like, actually just in combat, not just setting up a cool, like, setting up a cool set of abilities and then going for the Spirit of Zephyr. I mean, I would we would have to roast freaking Faith for his mid takes about that clown bozo Aaron. No, we're still going. We're still hanging out. We're talking about just the general events. Talking about what's going on for the next part of the story. Because I've been really liking the setup so far. Like I was hoping we'd see more of the continent, not the continent, the area of the continent, rather to say, of like the alchemy area. I wanted to see like 2 more towns. But, I mean, if we're just seeing Duke already, and we're going to maybe see some bits there, and then just get more bits of alchemy from more of the impressive people, and then maybe we'll kind of, like, see, like, another town or so later on. That's kind of my angle that I'm hoping for, but I wonder what kind of alchemy Duke has. He looks so cool, though. I like that he's like, very, very, very quick into action. That's like a Yuha Bak thing, like, well, early, not like later on, where it's like he actually goes onto the battlefield. He's actually partaking in the fight. I hope Gray's got this, though. Gray is definitely in a bad spot, though. Gray could be, it's hard to say. Gray should be strong enough to fight this dude. But we don't know what his tricks are at all. We don't know what kind of, like, hacks he has at all. And, like, here's the thing. Gray's powerful, but to alchemists, having one attribute is probably really good in their favor. Like, even if you're stronger, just because it's something that they can work a single mindset angle on, you know? Because of the way that their powers work. Something, oh, he's got devil eyes and stuff, too, and maybe Gray will... like, the Gray also has stuff like maybe he'll pull out, like, being able to replicate True Ice. I mean, if he can do the True Ice, then, I mean, he's gonna... That's a threat for Duke, but... As long as it hits him. But, at the same time, like, variants of Ice should still be easier than it's like, oh, he's got 6 elements or something. Because that would make sense of why they liked God Serena's. God Serena has multiple elements. And it's like, so he's somebody that's useful to them. It's like, oh, we like that you are... valuable for whatever reason that is, that would go for an alchemist. Minerva, I don't think it'll be Minerva and Urza. I think it'll be Lucy and Minerva. Because I think that has a better dynamic. And I think that Minerva being able to fight on Urza's level now would be really generous to her. It would be a really generous increase. Because I mean, like, she's strong, but I mean, she's not as strong as Urza. Let's be honest on that one really fast. Let's not, as they say, get it twisted. See, I know some modern people. One sec. Jalal's not a comedy character. Jalal's having a silly moment right now, but I mean, like, so is pretty much every character in the Shima series. All of them had something goofy. Sam, you know what? Let me just, I'm gonna put you in a little timeout there, guy. We've talked about the constant same thing Jalal slander. I get it, man. Gray and Rogue truly the jobbers of our guild? Not really. I just don't think that they've taken these guys seriously enough yet, which is fine. Like, because here's the thing. Think about all the people that they've fought over the years, and so far, what exactly have these guys done? Like, Genai made a smoke screen, and Kotetsu made Rogue's arm turn to iron. Like, they've had, like, some decent abilities, like, starting out, and it looks like they've got some good... oh, I was about to cough there, but, like, I somehow stopped myself from coughing entirely. They have some good combo abilities, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, like, when you think about the extent of what Gray and Wendy have really seen, these guys are like, oh, well, you know, we're still on guard against these guys, but I mean, they're nothing that pushes my shock value, you know. What would Kaneki say? I don't think it's gonna be really that bad. I know people just want to slander all the time. It's just like, if they just lose, then what? I don't think it's gonna go any way that's gonna be positive for the arc. If it's just, oh yeah, they all lose. I think they'll split up. I think that how it's gonna go, I think Athena and Natsu are gonna take a liking to each other, just based off of the interaction. I think it's gonna be one of those things where Athena is going to, like, develop some form of sense for battle after encounters with Natsu. Whereas, because if Athena is where I could guess, if, you know, just based off of these pairings. Because here's the thing. We went into this arc with not just one big opponent, but with two big opponents, Duke and Athena. Athena specifically, though, has a connection to the dragon gods. So, makes more sense for her to be an opponent with Natsu. So, if she is going to be somebody that Natsu is going to be fighting as he progresses his strength, somebody that's going to be a really good example character for him to constantly combat, then I think it makes sense for Duke to be that big opponent for Gray this arc, and that's why we're getting Duke right now going up against Gray. With Athena, I'm guessing with that fight, I could see it more going in Natsu's favor, but it's starting to turn for Athena, because, like, if I had to guess, Athena will, like, be one of those kind of, like, characters that, like, oh, she evolves in combat, but not just combat sense because she's like not human and like a automated machine puppet thingy. It'll be like, oh, it evolves like technologically or something. You know, she can like alter her body or whatever the fuck. With Duke, I think with Kotetsu and Ganai, I think just in theory of the 3 setup, because now it's 3v3, I think Wendy and Rogue will be fine. I think Gray will get pressed, but I think Gray will do a good job to where Duke will be interested in him. Because I think it'll make sense if he takes Gray and like wants Gray to join his guild, or in some way wants to tutor or work with Gray. Because if he has some form of preset thing with like God Serena where it's like, oh, you are interesting enough in whatever, you know, whatever my criteria is, be in my group. Because, like I said, Gray already has precedence to have tie-ins with this continent and this guild. Gray's from the northern continent. His magic has already been confused with alchemy, and in early translations, Maker Magic has been called a type of alchemy magic. So there's precedence there for it. It's just a question of how it's going, like if Mishima's going to go with it. And so far, it's actually looking pretty well in that favor. Like, it felt short because it was split into specifically 2 parts. Because right when you got to like the hype thing from Athena, we switched over to Gray, Rogue, Wendy, and that was mostly kind of just getting the feel of the opponents and then ending with a big hype setup. So, which is fine. I think that, you know, getting a good test of the waters chapter and then setting up big events is still really cool, because it's not really a setup chapter at that point. It has a little bit of setup at the end, but it was, I really do like the idea of just getting the taste of what exactly we're dealing with. I was hoping it'd be a little bit more in favor of seeing Gray and Rogue and Wendy's side of things, but it was a little bit around half and half, which is fine. But it's because it's like I want to see Athena, but I'm so much more interested right now in Duke. I'm not gonna lie. Like, Athena's really cool. I like the concepts around her. I really want to see like where her stuff goes. But the thing right now that has my most large-scale interest is, like, in terms of the new people, is Duke. Just because, like, Duke seems like such a strange addition that really I wouldn't have... Like, Duke is who I would have thought would have been the White Wizard kind of thing. But it's like, oh, well, this is... Okay, Athena's the White Wizard somebody set up, and then Gold Owl, this guild that kind of pops up. And then it's like, oh, well, Duke is the guild master, so he's just like this sudden big boss character. He's like DLC that came before, like, he's like if they, like, during the game, before you even finish, there's DLC just for like, oh yeah, I'm not at level 100 yet, I'm level 72, but there's DLC for this stage of the game. Okay, I'll download it and see how it goes. Like, it's just like a weirdly placed extra, and I'm perfectly cool with it because I like him. Sam, you say the same thing every time, and it's just annoying. And I've said it before. If you keep doing it, I'm just gonna put you in timeout again. I get it, you don't like Jalal, but you don't have to say the exact same thing every single time, every week. It's repetitive. You think Suzaku and Jalal have some kind of team-up, considering that both of them have Dragon Slayer magic-related darkness? Wait, what? Suzaku's isn't related to darkness. That's just the names he's going with the sword style. Because he ate the meat of a sword saint dragon, not a darkness dragon. Granted, we do not know if darkness is involved in some way. Like, we don't know if, oh, a sword saint is like some weird variant, and because of the moon with Selene, darkness isn't somehow involved because of the dark side of the moon. If there's some form of reveal, yes, I could see maybe like a nod, but I mean, Rogue isn't really a swordsman, at least not yet. But as of right now, it's mostly just a naming strategy for Suzaku's moveset. I don't think Duke could beat Jalal and Gray at the same time. That'd be ridiculous. Like, he would have to be August or somebody to do that. He seems really powerful. I don't think he's as powerful as August. Is it like August? August is an outlier for like the entire Spriggan tier. Laxus just had a fight. Like, why would Laxus have another direct fight if Jalal hasn't had one for a while? Makes more sense to get one for Jalal. I think Jalal, I still think 5th gen Jalal is going to happen. I'm waiting for it to happen. Maybe he's going to eat a piece of Viernes. I think it would be very Mishima to right before it's like, when you think about the planning, it's like right before where Jalal and Urza would just say, fuck it, let's get married and then be together forever. There's one like mega obstacle that happens. Like, imagine this, okay? I've had the theory of like Jalal becoming a 5th gen through some scenario where he has to eat part of a dragon. But imagine it's part of Viernes, and it's like he has some flash question mark style status where it's like he, at the end of the fight, because he ate part of Viernes' body, he gained part of his power, he becomes a concept and he just vanishes like a force ghost. And so it's like until the end of the 100 Years quest, we don't really know what's happened to Jalal, and then maybe we find out near the end. I think that would be perfect Mishima. Like, that's like me just stealing one out of his book right there. Because that sounds like something he would do. And I'm going to be honest, I still think that Mishima is going to have a sad ending for Elsie and Justice. I would prefer a sad ending because I like the different styles if he's going with where I think he's going for, those eye marked people where it's like, oh, each one is they each get a different kind of ending, and I think it makes the most sense from what we've seen that Urza and Jalal is the good ending, where it's like Sieg form is a bad ending. And I've always believed that Elsie in Mean Zero, I think Elsie should die and then Justice should live. And then, after that, do some extra weird stuff with whatever series Mishima's going to do next. Could Jalal beat Bloodman? Yeah, I think Jalal will be fine. Jalal's really smart, too, and he's got a huge moveset. Jalal's getting feats of Sark, though. We just gotta wait to see who he's gonna be fighting. One thing I'm actually still anticipating, because Mishima hasn't done it in 100 Years Quest, is he has not had a... How do I want to say this? Mishima has not had a sudden surprise extra boss in the middle of an arc. Because Dogremag I don't think counts. We had foreshadowing and stuff for Dogremag. I don't think it really counts from like the way that I'm kind of going with it. But somebody like Blue Note, or Blue Note just showed up one point in the middle of the arc where he was hanging out with Hades, and the way that I see it is, oh, Goldal has like, oh, it's Duke's son or Duke's nephew or some, I don't know, whatever. It can be their equivalent to Laxus, whatever the fuck. And it's just like one extra guy who's between the Signario sisters and Duke. I think that'd be really cool. I'd be down for that, but it just depends. Or maybe he's like right under the Signario sisters. He's like next to God Serena, and then they can have, somebody fight him. Doesn't have to be stronger than the Signario sisters. So just somewhere relative to that level where they have a sudden extra powerful character that like you can just throw at somebody. But I feel like you have to be stronger than Signario sisters if it's gonna be like a Jalal 1v1. Because whatever, if Gray's gonna be fighting Duke, then it's like, well, who's Jalal's opponent gonna be? Sam's gonna say something stupid about Jalal, and then I'm gonna time him out. Why don't you like 100 Years Quest, Samir? I thought this last chapter was good. I liked the way we're just getting like little tests of alchemy and getting little displays, because that's the thing we haven't gotten too much of in terms of the power system, because we got spiritual arts, and spiritual arts we didn't really see too much of. We saw a couple of abilities, but we didn't explore it as much as I was hoping. Maybe Mishima's going to do a little bit more of it later, but with alchemy, it looks like we're going to be getting a much better delving into the power system, and even getting like descriptions of like the difference of how alchemists and wizards use their power and stuff, which I think is really cool. I like that a lot, because that just gives some neat little general world building tone to this part of the arc, while we're seeing kind of these guys who are relevant to what extent fighters, but guys that don't seem big yet. And then obviously Duke and Athena and Signara's sisters are the ones we're kind of really keeping our minds on, because those are the stronger people. Those are, I think, what we gotta kind of be a little more cautious of. When siblings are failing for Omishima, expected the same for Signara's sister. You talking about Jin and Clean? Jin, I mean, Jin's been pretty much sitting at like a constant like back burner spot. Whenever he gets a fight, he gets a moment, but he has. I never expected Sylph to really do too much extra, just because I felt like she was just kind of like part of the crew to get Jin into the crew, and she's like just like a cool, fun additional character. I would actually, you know what? Now that you mention it, I would prefer it if like his fights are always with his sister, so it's like either a 2v2 or 2v1 always. Because I think it'd be cool to have them always operate together. Because that way you can keep Sylph there too, and she could be useful. Because like wind with wind is always going to be a additional like support, regardless of like scenario. It's just something that's going to benefit Jin no matter what. What do you mean, what's the point of introducing Duke? It's 3v3 now. Samir, I'm just gonna ask you a question. Are you fucking stupid? Do you know how to count? Do you know how to count? What was happening? What was the whole setup? Okay, now we had 2 guys show up, and then it was 3 of the protagonist members, and then 2 antagonist members. Okay, Duke shows up. Now it's 3v3. Wow, I wonder why numbers work that way. Shut the fuck up. Jesus Christ. Fucking annoying. It's like literally like there's no reason to get mad. It's like, oh, he shows up. We got a display where we got descriptions of how alchemy works, descriptions of like the difference of how wizards and alchemists use their abilities and use energy, and getting set up for what looks to be a 3v3 and a display of like the biggest guy in their guild. It's like, what was the point of it? It's like, what do you mean? This isn't hard to process. Oh man, a display and then a follow-up? Oh my god, shut up. Jesus Christ. So annoying. Supporting that Jalal's mission in there. Here's the thing also. Jalal does not care if he does it. Jalal cares that it gets done. Before even going into that, the point is that got us information that connects parts in the story and gives us relevant reason for to understand information beforehand. If Jalal never was looking into the White Wizard, we would probably not really have gotten any information outside of that other than Ferris. It's how things connect. It's how different ways in the story connect together. Stop asking stupid questions because you just want to be annoying about Jalal. I'm timing you out too. Jesus Christ. So annoying. I'm tired of the same thing every single time because you just want to bitch and you don't want to think about basic aspects of the story. Shut up. Jesus Christ. Jin and Clan is always off screen. I don't know, what was the last like fight they really got though, to be honest? Because they didn't really get a fight in the last arc really. I mean, the last little bit we had was kind of like a mini opening arc. The last like major arc was with what was Ziggy and stuff. So, I mean, they still were relevant. It's that they didn't get any kind of like big moments and like fights and whatnot. So I'm expecting maybe Mishima's saving, you know, the next one for like whenever they're getting closer to the end, and maybe crescendo whatever, you know, the plan is. Because Jin's cool, and it's like the problem I think that it is Jin doesn't have a bunch extra to. He doesn't have a bunch of extra plot points that kind of like continuously keep going with his character. It's more of how to expand on where he's at now, which isn't a bad thing. It's just right now, how much are we going to be able to make out with what we have before we get additional, you know, whatever's next for his character. Because it's not like with, say, Godjill. It's like you get to the point where Godjill is a member of the guild. He understands where he belongs here, where he is as a person, and understanding where he needs to kind of go from there, grow, and pretty much where he was when he started being more happy and comfortable with being, relaxed around him, instead of just being in this kind of hostile guild where everybody was super aggressive. But then it's like, okay, where do you go from there? And it's obviously stuff with Levi, and now it's like going into like stuff with him being a father. So it's like it's like parts in the story. It's one of the things I think Mishima does great with, and I think Mishima excels really well with this and how he integrates in the story. Is it because it keeps the way that he can kind of combine character stories through stuff like the way that he has their stories eventually going through like ships and stuff, or just generally weave, like for instance like Ray and Natsu back with Silver and Andy. But the way that they just kind of like interweave and then combine to kind of like form a new way that a character can grow with that. Because it's like when we first got Gaojiu, it's like, did you really expect an arc eventually about him being, a 10 out of 10 anime dad? No, I bet you didn't. But it's like, oh yeah, eventually these things connected, so this pathway got here. Where it's like, even though you can have other series where that happened, for instance, a bunch of characters in Naruto, but it's like more of that was just a time skip. None of that really, it never really became as much of an aspect of a character's story as much as it has with, like, say, like Gaojiu, for instance. They fought Crow. Crow is just a weird character. But, like, the thing about Mishima, and it's I think it's part of, like, how the universes are, though, and how he's doing it, is there's an extent of, like, he's saving certain things and aspects for getting to Universe Zero, because this is the true universe. So when we get to Crow, what is the thing? Is Crow going to be worse? Is he going to be controlled by somebody else? Are we going to get more of, like, an actual fight? Because I think as well, the characters can be strong enough by then, getting their memories of, like, how to have the skill in Ether, and then it's just getting stronger with their bodies and then growing from there, to where when we get to that point again, and we get to the time skip, we'll have it to, like, Jin can 1v1 one of the Galactica, and stuff like that. Like, characters can actually have much better chances of fights. Yeah, I mean, I thought that was kind of funny. The thing, though, about you have to think about the universes is the way that the universes work in Eden Zero is each one further from Universe Zero is distorted in events of the timeline. And it seemed like the further you get away to, people get a worse and worse timeline. So it's like we started out at, like, what, Universe 29, right? So it's like if in Universe Zero, Jin is like, yeah, I want to get my arms replaced by a doctor who can do it painlessly and professionally, and then it's like Universe 29, he gets kidnapped as a child and, like, some dude chops his limbs off with a chainsaw. I think it makes sense. The things, though, that I think Mishima really needs to get to when it comes to Universe Zero is what parts in Universe Zero are worse. Because from what we can tell, Shura in Universe, because we got to him in Universe 30, right? Because that was after Draken Joe. Correct me if I'm wrong. We got him in Universe 30, and this Shura lost to Nero. So this Shura was lazy and outsmarted by his father, and clearly did not reach his full potential because he's just partying and getting girls all the time. Whereas Universe Zero Shura is better and stronger and smarter and more capable of his father. So it's like Universe 30 Shura lost his way and became worse and worse and lesser as a person, that made him weaker and less capable in the long run, whereas this Shura is the most capable Shura. So like we need to see more characters like, I think, Shura, to where the Shura we saw was, you know, a bad dude, but he's like a lazy version. Whereas like this Shura will be more brutal, more aggressive, have way more means of manipulation. Like Shura, I feel like Shura is really gonna shift the tone for Eden Zero once we get to it, because there's no way Mishima set him up with being the only other guy besides we can't really talk about Ziggy and stuff and Xenolith, but it's like the only really other person really with, you know, the Demon King code with Satan gravity, and it's like the whole stuff with dark gravity. So that's what I want to see too. I want to see him really deep delved into dark gravity, so we can see that explored before the end. I would love a new Heroes volume. I would rather get another volume than get an anime adaptation, though. I would rather just get like more adventures, seeing these guys going together, than just seeing an adaptation of one I've already seen. Because it's like, what is it gonna really mean? Most people aren't gonna know about Haru. You're gonna get the same, like a bunch of people are gonna make the same jokes about Shiki looking like black-haired Natsu. I'd rather just Mishima. I would rather just Mishima like continue where he's at, and so like just the people who actually like his, you know, like his work can kind of go into it, and we don't have to deal with the larger scale people as much. I really can't wait to see Shura. I think Shura is going to do a lot to help with the tone of the series and shift it to a really good area. Because it's not that... I don't think that Mishima is just like taking all the fangs out of things. I think it's Mishima showing us the good things before we get into the bad things. Because I know he likes to do that too. Mishima likes to get people comfortable, and then suddenly somebody fucking strikes, and we're gonna get like, oh yeah, Shura's over here, and it's Laguna, and Laguna is like scarred and missing limbs and beaten the hell up, and he's just ragged and not looking good at all. That's what I really anticipate soon, because I just don't see like that one going as well. And I think it makes more sense if Laguna, like the guy who ran away, you know, avoided a lot of this stuff, and you know is all on his set on his own physical beauty. If we see him and he's kind of more ragged, and like maybe he's got more stubble and he's like got some facial scars, to where in this one he's more lost, but he's the one that needs to be saved, kind of thing, where it's like other people were much more willing, but in this one it's like Homura needed more help. I think Laguna should need more help. I don't think Laguna should be like, we just see Laguna and he's like, oh, his memories come back. I think Laguna needs to be a struggle, because the thing about Laguna that I've believed the entire series is Laguna is the only one that doesn't have a strong enough reason to be like a deep member of the crew. Most of the people that like Laguna just like him because his design and he's androgynous. That's it. That he's like I've seen Twitter. I know what Laguna fans are about. And listen, you can like Laguna. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think Laguna's a bad character. But it's like when you look at Homura, all the stuff on Homura when we first were kind of getting into her, and then getting her as like a member of the arc. Look at Wise and his backstory. Look at Jin. We don't have the same thing with Laguna. I think this is a perfect time for it, and the way we could really see a lot of it, and get him to have like Universe Zero to be the best time to really kind of get an understanding of why he's why he needs the crew and why he's a valuable member of the crew. But we'll see on that one. I have a lot of anticipation for once we get to Shura. I mean, it's not the missing limbs thing. It's the idea is Laguna, whose whole thing is clearly like he cares a lot about his physical appearance. If he's all messed up and he's missing limbs, because if If it's reversed where Jin is like, oh, whatever, you know, I'm missing the limb, it's not a sensitive point of his mind. If it's in this one, Laguna has artificial limbs, but it's like, yeah, he's got artificial limbs, but he hates having artificial limbs. Like, he misses having real limbs. Or something like that. It depends on how it's handled, if done. Latest Yuno, I like how Yuno stuff is going. I mean, his Mana Zone is pretty much just a way to counter Lucius's time abilities and then buff his allies. I mean, it's not... It's good. It's nothing crazy. It's just cool seeing Yuno do it at this scale. I want to see more of just Yuno doing things. I want to see Yuno at this level doing things. I want to see Yuno do a couple of cool attacks. There's an attack that I'm going to be mad if Yuno does it, because it's an attack style that I thought of for like a character if I ever did series. If like from all these directions that his stars are out, they start shooting beams just continuously at him, like, because it's I guess I can't really say because it's similar, I guess, in visual as like the part with Xemnas at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2. I'll give it to him that, because that is true. It would look similar visually. Well, Tabata took inspiration from it and rip it off. I think it makes sense in how he did it. Plus, we have at least enough information. And oh man, someone's attacking me in this game. I like the Yuno stuff. I've been on the Yuno hype train. I've been enjoying what's going on with them and enjoying what Yuno's been doing. I think with things where things are progressing, it's been pretty solid. I think Yuno getting the moments he's been getting have been fun. One thing I think that we need though soon is, like I said, is I think we just need some cool Yuno scenes. Like, I want to see Yuno really fight. Because all he's really done is make a shield and then cut a horn. I want to see him actually do something. Well, Yuno didn't counter time itself. It's by countering time mana. It's by messing with the flow of the mana, so it's like not aging. Because the way that Lucius does it, he's making the mana accelerate around you in time. It's much more of a mana to mana thing and less of a time itself kind of thing. Adramalik. I mean, I don't know if he wants to fight Yuno right now. I think that might be a bad idea for him. Because that's one of the reasons I think Yuno's arm thing is going to be required for a recharge, or in some way, shape, or form. He's not going to be able to just use this again. Is like, I don't know the point of like setting up with Adramalik if Yuno's going to be this powerful right off the go. Seconds, somebody's attacking him again. Oh, these pussies running away. I'm following. Oh, he ran away. Anyway, concept is an asshole. I don't think it's a problem, and it's not like there's some foreshadowing for it, as well as the way that the time spell works, because he's not just hitting you with, oh yeah, bam, time now goes around you and you're dead. It's Oh, this dude followed him and killed him. Good job. It's more like he's utilizing the mana and then making the mana accelerate. That's weird to say because it's so easy to say, but I'm just not saying it properly. I'm saying it really stupid like. He's just like accelerating the mana around you and like time accelerating everything in that zone. But he's not manipulating time itself. Right now I own 3 dogs and 4 cats. I'm about to have a couple extra. I'm gonna watch my brothers for a few weeks. It's gonna be rough, but it's gonna be nice. Just let me do a quick shill as well, just because we get some good amount of people here hanging out still. And I figured I would chill. I'm gonna chill for a little bit and just kind of talk to you guys because we haven't had a good stream in a bit. In addition to the chapter, as well as I'm gonna look at the 4 nights chapter. I think too. I think there was a chapter this week. But I'd appreciate if everybody who's here, thumbs up the video, the stream, and hang on one second. Anyway, yeah, I'd really appreciate you thumbs up the stream, friend, like button, subscribe button, and if I've entertained you enough, you think I've earned at least $1, you can either throw $1 my way. I think a solid $1 per, I guess access to all. That's my only, not like, I'm trying to say it with like not homeless. What's the way that they, what's the way that those dudes used to say it when they would, they get like the not tolls, but they ring for Christmas. You know what I'm talking about? I'm trying to use words and I'm using words very poorly. Because it's not like fun rate. I can't remember. There was like a fancy word for it when it's just like they're pretty much asking you for change. So I mean that's pretty much just what those types of shows are. I do like coins though. The White Lobster. I do want to I want to get my fish tank set back up because I really want to get my fish tank running crazy, but I'm not going to do that until I move again. I might no, because I really don't want to I don't want to move a fish tank again. I'm going to wait and do that once I move. Quan might stream if you bother him enough. If you harass Quan enough, he will definitely stream. You just gotta talk to him. He's getting spam text. Anyway, I'm looking forward to hopefully some good gray hype, but we'll see. So what I think I'm gonna do, I'm gonna look more into, like I said, doing podcast stuff. I'm gonna probably look into some of that today, and then I'll plan one over the next, maybe like, if I can get it like looked into today and then kind of maybe get an account on something. So I think Faith told me to look at Anchor, and then after that, I guess from there we'll plan the first stream. I just have to figure out what the topic will be for the first one. I guess we could talk about like the dragon gods, or I'll have to think about it. Like, I want to talk about a solid first stream, but we'll talk more in a little bit. I'm gonna try, because if I do that, I'm gonna try and just do maybe an extra like one of these a week. Because if I can just do like an hour and a half ones, because I can just do it without having to have anybody in here, and I can just talk, record it, and then post it, and then I can have that. I could have ones where I'm live, and then ones where I'm just, you know, like, oh man, I really want to talk and just kind of hang out, talk about what's going on with, you know, an idea with theories or events in the story, talk about some of the potential for the upcoming bits. And as well as, like I said, I think it'd be easy for me to talk about some of like listeners, like, you know, give some of my thoughts on Black Clover, because I haven't been doing as many videos lately, and so it's like I haven't been talking about the chapters much. Josuke hasn't been streaming, so we haven't having that. I don't know if Ginkan Galoon is gonna to survive. If it does, like if it somehow survives the axe, I'm gonna review it. I don't know if it's going to. Gachi Akuta, I think that series, it's pronounced. That series is surviving. I'm probably going to talk about that too, because that series is pretty cool. Next stream, what's today? Tuesday? So I'm going to try and always stream on Tuesday, at least like a regular stream. But what I'll probably do is I'll probably do a more of like a podcast kind of post later, where I just put one up and then kind of go from there, and maybe kind of jump in between those, and then just kind of talk, because I want to get something set up is the thing. I want to get something actually set up that's worth. So I like the YouTube membership. I like the YouTube membership because if I can be entertaining enough for even a handful of people, like, you know, to donate, you know, to do like a $1 or $2 a month membership, I feel like that's, you know, for just pretty much what I want to do is pretty much just like, oh, they're going to be driving somewhere, put me on in the background for $20 or whatever, or $20, 20 minutes, and it's just like me talking about, oh, let's talk about why I think Ray is going to be gaining alchemy this arc, or let's talk about the weird kind of like fates of Natsu's rivals throughout, you know, evil rivals throughout the series, like Zenkro and Jackal and Cobra. It'll have to be set up. And I was saying, I can bring people on as guests for sometimes. I can bring like Quan or Faith, or I can try and wrangle up Josuke. Maybe Josuke and I could talk about like Toriko or something. I think that would be fun. But other than that, I'll talk to you guys later. I like I said, if I stick to things like these where I can just kind of do like hour and a half, 2 hours, where I just kind of, you know, either talk about something or do like a just short stream, I think I'll be able to get this set up much more. Because I've just shifted my schedule around too much, and I'm at a point to keep it consistent. And right now, it's just like, if I can keep it consistent, all I pretty much have to do is find out, okay, where can I fit this in? Because I do like the streams. I do like talking to people about, obviously, manga, and talk about recent events, stuff like we got the hype train, possibly some Gray hype train soon too. But I think both of the thing is, like, I anticipate to get really underhandedly defeated in the next couple chapters, and same thing with Gray. I feel like I think Gray's ultimately going to lose to Duke here. I don't think he can beat Duke, but I'm hoping he puts up a good performance against Duke before Duke beats him, because like with Genai and Kotetsu, I think they're fine. Duke is completely different. It's not even fair, because like we don't know the extent of how strong he is, but he's the guild master. So it's like we know that he's strong. He should be stronger than the Signario sisters, and the Signario sisters are stronger than God Serena. So clearly Duke is well high Spriggan level. So this, where's he going to be at, and then what kind of hacks does he have? It's going to be, and it's like a master alchemist just dealing with ice, and maybe like the Devil Ice will be a different story, but still, I feel like for Duke is just going to be in a really strong advantage point here. But anyway, other than that, I'll talk to you guys later. And like I said, I won't shill much for it now. I just wanted to give the one for the memberships, but I'm very serious. I want to make the membership actually worth having it. So I want to do more streams, but more kind of just like general talkings where we kind of go over. Oh yeah, today we're going to talk about God Slayers. Today we're going to talk about Spatial Wizards. Today we're going to talk about Fire Wizards. Today we're going to talk about the Phantom Lord arc. Today we're going to talk about Edalus. That's pretty much what my plan is, and I'm hoping that going forward, I think you guys will like that. I'm hoping more in a structured style where we kind of keep it as more of a themed topic. Will be more fun for people involved. But I'm telling people right now, it's gonna be for the people that just want to spam random stuff. I know freaking Samenian, but randomly just wants to hate on Jalal. None of that, because we could do characters too, and I think the way that it works, if just doing like an hour of like talking about a character, I think will be better than me trying to plan out some like documentary style setup of them that takes me too long. Well, one, I don't think that's really fair though. This is the main enemy of the guild. This is like literally their strongest guy showing up. How is that fair? Gray was clearly doing fine against Genai, and then the Duke shows up. And we haven't even seen how it goes yet. I think Gray will contend, but I think Gray will ultimately not be able to defeat Duke here. But I think a lot of that's going to have to do with the fact that Duke is like a master alchemist, that ice won't be as much of a problem. For granted, like I said, I think Devil Ice will be a very